What's up, guys? It's Max back at it again. This time today we're here for the movie review. So let me sit down and let's break down the movie. So today's movie review is going to be on The Joker, which brought up a lot of controversy in theaters due to the violence that it had, and a lot of fans out in the, I believe, Colorado area were worried because the last DC movie that really stirred up some riots was The Dark Knight Rises. There's a shooting due to that out in Colorado. I believe it was Colorado that suffered a shooting. But aside from that, let me break down the movie The Joker. So it starts off with a man named Arthur Fleck. He has a mental disorder that causes him to laugh, that doesn't do with his emotions. This is really a serious kind of thing, just because a lot of people, I think nowadays, mental illness is such a huge thing in society. So anyway, he has this mental illness. He goes through the movie, thinking his whole life's a tragedy, that, you know, his life sucks. He's getting bullied at work. His mom really she's really like dysfunctional, loopy in the head too. So, and her whole thing is on getting Thomas's Wayne attention. So like she writes letters to him every day. So basically at the beginning of the movie, you know, we see Arthur start to, you could see how messed up his life is in the beginning of the movie. As that translates throughout the movie, Arthur kind of tends to, when he tells his psychiatrist or his therapist that was talking to him that he needs more medication, he needs more medication. When all of a sudden the government shuts down his therapist and everything, and his therapist says, hey, they don't give a fuck about people like us. Like, they don't give a fuck about people like you. They don't give a fuck about people like me. So they shut down the department. Arthur's no longer getting his medicines. So throughout the movie, we're introduced to another character, his neighbor. It seems like, you know, they're in a relationship, everything's going well, like things are starting to pick up. Arthur's really big into stand-up comedy. He goes on to stand-up comedy and tells some jokes. Eventually, he's brought on to the Murray Franklin show. That really obviously turned into what made it to be such a great picture was just how as you see throughout the film, the transition of Arthur becoming the Joker. I think they did that really well. DC really did do well on making Arthur Fleck be the Joker, and really stressed his mental illness. One thing I really did like about the movie was you're going throughout thinking, in one of the scenes, he was on the Murray Franklin show, but man, of the fact, it was just a figment of his imagination. Just like his girlfriend that was introduced, the neighbor that we all thought was his girlfriend. But midway through the movie, it's revealed that he goes in her apartment and he's sitting there. His mom's sick, and he's sitting in his neighbor's apartment, just chilling, hanging out. And his neighbor walks in and she's like, "You need to leave. What are you doing here?" And then he makes the sign, boom. And she starts going crazy. She's like, I have a daughter. So he finds out that he was supposedly adopted, that his mother adopted him. And the lawyers sit down with his mother. There's a flashback scene that say that the lawyers sit down with the mother, saying that, hey, your son was adopted. But really what happened was Thomas Wayne hooked up with Arthur Fleck's mom, and Arthur Fleck is his son. So technically, the Joker is Batman's half-brother that no one knew. No one knew that Joker was basically his half-brother that's like 30 years older than him, which is crazy. Like, that's wild. Batman has been facing that's the whole reason why they are arch nemesis is because of Thomas Wayne. Like, it's wild. It's wild to think about. It's crazy. So, anyway, back to the topic at hand. So, the movie progresses. Arthur Fleck meets Thomas Wayne. He says, "You're my dad. Like, give me some sympathy." And Thomas Wayne Dex his ass right in the face. He's like, stay away from my son. Because Arthur Fleck went and approached Thomas Wayne saying, hey, you're my dad. So, that happened. So now his stand-up comedy bit that he happened earlier in the film, or like midway through the film, gets introduced on David Letterman. Sorry, my bad. Murray Franklin's show. So he ends up going on Murray Franklin's show, and he's sitting there like, he's like, all right, cool, like I'm on his show, like cool. But then he realizes they're here to make fun of me, and he just goes off. He's just telling how bad of a week it's been, how he killed 3 people on a subway station, how it sparked a whole revolution, and that the Joker, he literally told Murray Franklin before when he was wanting to be introduced, hey, introduce me as the Joker. And Murray Franklin's like, the Joker? Hey, that's a good ring to it. So they bring him out. He's talking how crappy his life is, and then Murray Franklin's just going off on him, saying, oh, poor you. Then, you know what happens? Joker puts a cap in his ass. Like, literally guns him down on television. This revolution's going on. Oh, man, it was wild. By far one of the best films I've ever seen. I've never thought, like, DC, they were lacking. Marvel has been kicking their butt for a while. Probably since, I would say, since Christian Bale hung up the cape and the cowl of being Batman, Marvel has been whooping them. Just completely whooping them in the box office. So to have a movie like this come out and DC really step up was huge. Especially the supervillain. I never thought sitting in a movie theater that I'd be so entertained watching an origin story of a supervillain. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like, I think by far the Joker is one of the most interesting villains in the DC universe, considering the fact that there could be multiple ones, because in one of the comic books, Batman sits down in, I think it's the chair of knowledge, and it's revealed that there's 3 Jokers, which I think that's crazy to even think about, that he's one out of 3 Jokers that Batman faces, which also is crazy that he's also Batman's half-brother. So, all around, I give this movie an A. Definitely an A. Actually, scratch that. I give this movie an A+. It was great sequence. I think they moved throughout the film very well. It was a very well-rounded show. I enjoyed it. I know a lot of other audiences enjoyed it in the theaters. It was crazy. It definitely did mess with your head. Honestly, I really like that. The fact that they want to kind of mess with your head a little bit. Joaquin Phoenix, I honestly think he was one of the best actors just to perform that role. And just to, honestly, he owned the role of being the Joker. Hats out to Heath Ledger. He's obviously I think between Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill of being the Joker, those two by far are the top. But Joaquin Phoenix is definitely my number 3. Great acting. I gotta say, it was a well-rounded film from start to finish. And that's all I got. Like, if you haven't seen The Joker, it's a must-watch. Go out and see it. 10 out of 10, A+. Then that's all I got. So, first movie review out of many to come. Thank you for joining my channel. I'll see you guys later.